dahil lamang sa habag. Ako ay pinili at pinatawad pa. Binigay ang iyong buhay, o pag-ibig na dakila. Tinawag mong bayan ng malayo sa'yo, kinilala kang Diyos na rebelde sa'yo. Nasumpungan ikaw ng iyong malas sa'yo. Anong biyaya to na pinili ako? Walang mabuting bagay lumalabas sa akin. Puro lang kasalanan ng ninais. Ngunit ako'y sinagip sa dagat na malalim. Ito'y di ko mawarin na ako'y pinili. Dumating ang biyaya na di ko hinanap. Ikaw na ang bumaba dahil lamang sa habag. Ako ay pinili at pinatawad pa. Binigay ang iyong buhay, o pag-ibig na dakila. Tinawag mong bayan ng malayo sa'yo, kinilala kang Diyos na rebelde sa'yo. Nasumpungan ikaw ng iyong malas sa'yo. Anong biyaya to na pinili ako? Walang mabuting bagay lumalabas sa akin. Puro lang kasalanan ng ninais. Ngunit ako'y sinagip sa dagat na malalim. Ito'y di ko mawarin na ako'y pinili.
Sinatip sa kapahamakan, kaya wala dahilan para magpakahangal at magpakahalang. Magpasalamat naman, ikaw ay kanyang binili na maniran sa kahari ang kanyang pag-aari. Nag-iisang putang ibong magpaparalinisin ang kasalanan at luminagrabe na pagkaraming sakripisyo. Bumaba si Kristo para sa lahat. Salamat sa lahat. Ako may makasalanan, walang sawa mo pa rin akong binibigyan. Binigyan ni Kristo ang pananampalataya. Buod kinalis sa kaluluwa, ilipat sa iyong anak. Para sa ustisya ng pagpapagpili mo sa mga makasalanan. Siya akong binahal, si isaw pinapuputan bago pumatipanganak ang hambal. Tinawag mong bayan ng malayo sa'yo, kinilala kang Diyos na rebelde sa'yo. Nasumpungan ikaw ng iyong malas sa'yo. Anong biyaya to na pinili ako? Walang mabuting bagay lumalabas sa akin. Puro lang kasalanan ng ninais. Ngunit ako'y sinagip sa dagat na malalim. Ito'y di ko mawarin na ako'y pinili. Nasumpungan ikaw ng di umanap sa'yo. Anong biyaya to na pinili ako? Yo, shout out. shout out sa inyong lahat. Oh, ito na nga, ang dami nyo na ulit eh. Mapapagod na naman ako. Vow of silence nga eh. Shout out sa inyong lahat ha. Salamat sa iyo, Teresa Rans. Dagdag pang bakasyon boss now na PNP chip na si Tore. Yun nga eh. That sucks. Ba't may corona na dyan? May corona. Nakita ko yung kay Now Nonsense, number 3 yung corona niya. Ba't may corona? Ba't ganun? Pati silent viewers na wapachat para sa XP. Ano yun?
Oh, anyway, simulan natin to. Merong kapihan with the media daw. Okay. Kainis naman itong net sa Pinas. Hays, nakakapanibago. Grabe it. Sa Pinas ka na? Well, welcome back. Baka hindi ka na makauwi. Soldier Guevara evicted na rin. Actually, yung kay Teves. Well, dito naman tayo kay Presidente. President, sige, the floor is yours. Let's go. Nagtaka ako sa corona para mga super chat. May leaderboard para sa mga chatters. So, ba't yung kay Teacher Mark walang ganyan ako kanina? Ba't ganun? Ba't ganun? Bakit yung kay Teacher Mark wala namang ganun kanina? Anyway, dito tayo. Mr. President, the floor is yours. Bilisan natin ang konti. Tapusin natin to. Kasi, alam mo, si President, minsan lang magsalita yan eh. Sa public, lalo sa public ganito, parang ganitong with the media, right? So, tapusin natin to. Tapos segregate ko na siguro sa edited version. Okay. Totoo ba? Hindi definite no pa yung kay Mayor Magalong. Ingat. Okay, let's go. 125. Piyesta kasi sa amin, kaya pasensya na kayo sa ingay ha. Piyesta sa amin eh. Ewan ko. Piyesta dapat dito, yung ginugunita dito is yung, alam nyo ba na ang unang-unang winagayway ang bandera ng Pilipinas ay dito sa amin, sa Alapan. Kaya pinakamataas na bandera dito sa amin. No? So, sinabay ng piyesta yan. So, for some reason. Dati mga veterano at veterano lang hinandyan. Pero ngayon, naging piyesta siya for some reason. So, ewan ko. The Catholics have their way in talaga, Anyway, let's go. Mr. President, it's your time to shine. Let's go. Indefinite pa si Mayor. May chance pa tayo.
Good evening.
Totoo ba yan? Dapat yan talaga makaharap si Atty. Libayan eh. Ako seryosohin mo ako Di ako nagbibiro. Ganon parang we can only hope. Let's go.
Everyone,
Happy Fiesta po, Sir Kayu. Hindi ako Katoliko. Rowan.
I'm sure, of course, you know, we just concluded.
Third quarter of 2027, magkakaalaman kayo. Siya nagsabi? Si Mayor Magalong nagsabi niya, Rigol? Kasi hindi ko talaga alam yung point ko na nandito sa YouTube ng hindi naman pala sa tatakbo ano pang ginagawa natin dito, di ba? Nagbubullshitan lang tayo dito, di ba? Fiesta pala. Ano pang ginagawa natin dito? Takbo na sa bahay ni Kayo. Battle of Alapan. Yan, dyan ang una-una, hindi sa Kawit, actually. Hindi sa Kawit. Dito sa amin, una-unang ang bandera ng Pilipinas. Okay? Kaya pinakamataas na flag yun dito sa amin. Tingin ko lang, opinion ko lang. Let's go.
The first meeting here
Narinig ba kayo? Ako ba yung tinatawag nun? Kaya yun na.
under the chairmanship of Malaysia. Our chair was Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim of Malaysia.
Uy, maganda yung mic mo President Saan galing yung mic na yun?
And I think from the news releases or some of the material that has been
Saan galing yun? Ang ganda ng mic niya.
I think from the
Ito ba yun? Ito yan? O may naka sa kanya? Baka nandito sa likod ng niya. Baka nasa likod ng tie niya. Ang ganda ng mic niya Wag lang manalo si Art 2028, okay na. Kung di naman nanalo yun, promise marami siyang kalaban talaga.
news releases or some of the material that has been produced for this meeting. The two main topics really were Myanmar and unilateral tariff schedules being imposed on the different countries, ASEAN member states.
So, totoo ba na tayo na yung next na mag-chair, parang mag-chair
In terms of Myanmar,
noon nasabi nga niya na never say no yet, sabi ko, hindi mawawala si Kayo sa YT. Well, narinig ko lang kanina kay akala ko si definite no na talaga eh. Ako definite no. Sabi ko, ano pang gagawa ko itong lechin to?
I think we have, it's something that a couple of us actually, member states in ASEAN have been going to ASEAN and saying what we tried to do was with the 5 points of consensus that was agreed with between ASEAN and Myanmar. Not only has that improved the situation, has it not improved the situation, if we are to be very...
Oo nga pala, share ko na rin sa inyo. After 5 years, namatay asawa ko,
pupunta yung bayaw ko bukas. Hindi ko alam kung para sa akin o para sa kanya. I don't know. We'll find out tomorrow.
Pragmatic or clear-eyed is the term that situation. If we are to be very pragmatic or clear
Pragmatic. Yan yung music to my ears, President eh. Sige na. Sige na. Yan yung mga gusto kong, music to my ears. Yan yung mga pragmatic na music to my ears. Oh, let's go. Hello, Ricul. Yes, PH ang chairman. Oo nga, sabi nga kanina eh.
right is the term that I use about it. It's clear that in fact the situation has gotten worse, and therefore it is very important. It is critical to realize that, to recognize that, and to try something different. And so we, Malaysia.
Okay, when he said try something different, it kind of implies that the previous one doesn't work. Okay? That's being pragmatic. Okay? 'Di ba? 'Di ba? 'Di ba? Yung ano nga sa kila James na truth is what works. Okay, hindi ganun, hindi oversimplification yung kapag ginawa mo and it works, that it's true. Hindi, it's not about that. Okay, pero that's what he means here. Okay? Kinda. Kasi it implies na yung dati is hindi nagwo-work. Now, we're gonna have to change like theories or hypotheses on how to do it. Right? Na-guess nyo? Pragmatic coming from BBM, that's rich. Well, let's just say na ang Machiavellianism is actually pragmatism in a bastardized way. Okay? Bastardized version ng pragmatism yung Machiavellianism. Okay? Kaya we can actually expect it from the president. So, hanos ka na niya ata. Oops. O wag ganun. Wag ganun.
For this meeting had already started trying to make contact with the different stakeholders in Myanmar to try and get a feel
micro,
of what
okay.
needs to be done and how they can bring at the very first is a ceasefire and a humanitarian, to allow humanitarian aid to come in, and certainly the other countries that are deeply affected, such as Thailand and Indonesia and Malaysia, the identification and return of the refugees who ran to their countries when the war started. So what the Philippines proposed, because in any analysis, this problem is not going to be solved in a year's time.
Okay. Maliwanag talaga ang mic ni PBBM. Ganda. Di ba? Maliwanag. Saan galing yun?
And so I proposed to PM Anwar, which he agreed with, is that let us come to an agreement that since I am the chair for next year, that we should you should not limit yourself to making commitments or entering into agreements that may last beyond your chairmanship.
Wait. What?
Because we should you should not limit yourself to making commitments or entering into agreements that may last beyond your chairmanship.
Okay, so para panibagong kumbaga, okay, nagigets ko yung point. So, dapat ipako niya sa pagiging chairman niya yung tapos nung mga ginagawa niya or mga policies ba yun? May sunog pa ata. Hindi sunog yun, may piyesta nga. Kulit nyo naman eh. So, okay. Kasi hindi nga naman maipapasok yung gusto nilang panibago or new ways of doing things if nakapako yun sa beyond chairmanship niya. Okay, gets. Okay. PBM were to buy that po. Suggest ko, Mang Tem, yung...
Because so long as you and I agree, you, PM Anwar, and me, we agree on the principle of what you're committing to for ASEAN and for with Myanmar, and
Hello,
even if
VG.
it continues beyond your chairmanship, we will pick it up when we become chairman, and we will build on that.
Okay, two options. Ang sinasabi niya is, parang policy ba yun? Ano ba? Ewan ko ano yung sinasabi ng beyond. Let's say policy. It's X. Kumbaga, kung gagawa ka ng X, you have to like consider the future of me being the chairman next so I can pick it up. Parang something like that, right? Okay, makes sense.
So that's simply a new concept because every time we have talked about Myanmar, we start again every single time. I've seen it in the past.
Yeah. That's a very good point. That's a very good point. Kumbaga, parang short-lived. Kasi nagiging politicized na yung nangyayari. Well, ganyan din naman nangyayari sa Pilipinas, right? Yung mga project ng presidente is wala naman ding parang mechanism to actually force the next administration to pick it up and finish it. Walang ganun eh. So parang yun yung pinopropose ni PBBM dito, I think.
ASEAN, as in the past ASEAN conferences. So I think that there's new thinking now when it comes to Myanmar, and with the upcoming elections in Myanmar, there may be a hope of stability. It's a ceasefire first that we want because the humanitarian cost is has become very, very large, and we cannot see the stakeholders in Myanmar managing to find any kind of common ground. And I'm not talking about government and the opposition. Even within the opposition, they're still squabbling, they're faction.
Pahabol lang, if he's really a Machiavellian, he should have known that he should be feared but not to the point that he will be despised by the people. He is. Why? Hindi nga maisisi sa kanya lahat ng mga nangyayari. He is being a Machiavellian. He's not being hated. Technically, there are people being hated like Romualdez. Not necessarily him. And then nasa book? Well, let's say ganito. Let's say may isang example sa ni Niccolo Machiavelli na si Cesare Borgia, right? Meron right hand, meron siyang parang ano ba tawag doon sa parang yung taga ganon, right? Anong ginawa niya? Nangyari is to the point na may danger na being hated siya because of that. Ang ginawa niya is in-execute niya yung right hand niya, nautos niya rin sa harapan ng citizens. That's what it means. Yung mga sibakan na nangyayaring ganito, yeah, from the book. Yung pinatay niya din, yeah. Hinati at tinapon sa square. Yeah, si Cesare Borgia, di ba? Ayun yung ginawa niya sa right. Parang, may tawag dyan eh. Inan-alive niya yung marami ng nalalaman. Yung henchman niya, correct. Yung henchman niya, yun yung ginawa niya. In-execute niya sa gitna, sa harapan ng citizens. He was feared and respected at the same time. That's how it works. It's all about the optics. It's all about the appearance of being good, I guess. He is doing it.
They're factionalized. So it's become quite involved and very complicated. The Malaysia has appointed
Inspiration ni Machiavelli sa The Prince niya. Yeah.
the special envoy to work on this.
Not only that, special mention siya ni Nietzsche sa Ubermensch. Sabi niya, tama si Niccolo Machiavelli na i-cite si Cesare Borgia na siya yung The Prince. And sabi ni Nietzsche na wala siyang ibang makita na model ng Ubermensch kundi si Cesare Borgia rin. Ubermensch ang tawag ni Nietzsche sa kanya. Ubermensch. Okay? Well, with one exception si Marcus Aurelius kay Nietzsche. Okay? Marcus Aurelius, ayun yung sinasabi niya, that can work. Kasi he represents the master morality.
And we actually have been in consultation with Malaysia since early this year. Concerning this, I sent a special representative upon the request of Prime Minister Anwar. So that's the new approach that we are going to bring to the problems in Myanmar. Mm-hmm. As to the second subject, which is the unilateral tariff regime that is being posed on many member countries. Well, first of all,
Siguro depends sa location kayo kasi almost the entire South hates him. Kasali na si Romualdez. Well, that's contextual. It doesn't matter kung hated siya ng ibang tao. Like for example, Germany, Hitler. 'Di ba? It doesn't matter. Huwag mo siyang tanggalin sa localized version. Kapag nagkaroon ka na kasi, pag nagkaroon ka na kasi ng ng global, eh ibang usapan na 'yon kasi bangga na ng morals 'yun eh. Okay? Ibang usapan na 'yon. Huwag mong tanggalin out of context.
We're trying to compare each other's situation kasi yung ibang ASEAN members, ang laki-laki ng tariff nila. All the way ranging from what? 40 hanggang sa 10%. Sa Singapore, pinakabababa. Tayo nga, mabuti-buti. We're second from the bottom with 17%. Pero tinitingnan kasi ang sinasabi ko nga sa kanila, okay, kung negosyante ka, pwede sasabihin, advantage sa atin ito. Dahil kaunti lang yung tariff sa atin, mag-export tayo. Di ba? Imbis na sila mag-export, dalhin nila rito yung pabrika.
That's smart, actually. That's very good. That's okay.
Mag-export tayo. Di ba? Imbis na sila mag-export, dalhin nila.
Pero why do you have to say it publicly though? Sa bagay, malalaman din naman din nila kapag pagdating sa pagdating sa implementation na malalaman din pala ng US yun. No? Parang that's genius. That is genius. Dalhin sa atin yung mga gusto lang export kung sino yung mataas and then tayo mismo magbibigay doon kasi nasa 10% lang tayo. So I guess ang mangyayari dito is nagkakaroon lang ng discrepancy sa currency. I guess mas mataas pa rin yung currency natin sa kanila, right? In dollars, right? Oo nga, no. That's genius. See, so, he's working, guys. Come on. Stop it. Nice move. Tayo ang mag-export. Di ba? Oh. Genius.
Kunti lang yung tariff sa atin, mag-export tayo. Di ba? Imbis na sila mag-export, dalhin nila rito yung pabrika.
More jobs and work in PH. Correct. This is good. This is genius, Mr. President. I like it. I like the sound of it.
Whatever it is, and then dito so 17% lang ang tariff. Pero kung isipin mo, kung you keep thinking,
Nice move, pero bakit sinabi pa sa media? I think malalaman din naman sa implementation eh. Malalaman din naman kung ano yung import natin and then we're exporting it there. So,
about this,
pero hindi ba the way I see it although that's very that's genius. For me, that's genius. One. Number two, I think the problem you have to solve there is the currency. Why? Because I think sa mga binanggit ni Presidente na currency is mas mataas yung currency natin kaysa sa kanila. So if we're going to like solve it, doesn't it like actually it will work. Actually it will work. Why? Kasi mas mababa yung currency nila kaysa sa atin eh. Tingnan natin ang USD PHP is 55.69, right? Tingnan natin sa USD THB, Thailand baht. Oh, okay. So mas mataas ang Thai baht kaysa PHP. Teka. So, kung ang currency ng is mas mataas kaysa sa atin, meron tayong arbitrage na 18 23 pesos, something like that. Okay, what if they pay in US dollars? If we talk about US dollars. So, ang mangyayari is Okay. Feeling ko alam ko na alam ko na yung mangyayari dito. Feeling ko alam ko na yung mangyayari dito. So, the way to actually move forward with this is BBM can really talk but he lacks tangible. Masyado ka naman pessimistic, Che, relax ka lang. Kulang ang bigas sa Japan. If tayo mag-produce ng bigas ng Japan, kikita ang Pinas. Export rice sa Japan. I think, Fiona, hindi yan yung pinag-usapan dito. Pinag-usapan dito kasi yung tariff eh. Ang pinag-usapan dito yung tariff na in-impose ng US sa iba-ibang bansa sa ASEAN. So, ang plano is tayo yung pinaka second to the lowest, sabi daw, di ba? Singapore, next to Singapore. Ngayon, gustong i-exploit ni PBBM yon through asking the ASEAN, dahil siya naman yung mag-chair, right? Na dalhin dito sa Pilipinas, ipadaan dito, and then para 10% lang. So ngayon, ang usapan dito is in dollars. So I think ganito mangyayari yan. Magkakaroon ng agreement kung sino yung mga customer na ng mga ng Thailand. Ngayon, may customers sila, 'di ba, sa US, right? So, kung may customers sila sa US, then the price is still the same. Okay? Kasi sa Pilipinas ka manggagaling, right? So, walang mangyayari pa rin bago doon, pero may middleman. Ang magiging middleman is the Philippines. So ngayon, ang Philippines ang magbabayad dito sa Thailand, and then siya naman yung Pilipinas naman yung mag-send doon sa US. So I think ang mangyayari dito is dahil magiging middleman tayo with no extra cost, right? Kasi nga may lang eh. Ang mangyayari niyan is makukuha natin yung customer nila. This is genius. I think this is genius. Parang kikita ang Pinas kung ganun good idea. Correct. Vietnam at Thailand yung naging manufacturing hub ngayon sa ASEAN. Gagawin tayong conduit. Yeah. I think that's what's gonna happen. They're gonna or unless ang ganito gagawin nila. Unless ang gagawin nila is kung sino nando sa yung top export countries, magbi-build ng company dito sa existence, magkakaroon ng existence dito. And then sila ngayon yun from Philippines to US. So, kasi I think hindi sila papayag na maging middleman tayo in the sense na tayo yung magiging kantasasak nila eh, right? Kasi malaman natin yung customer nila, maiipon natin yung customer nila, and then tayo na magiging exporter nun, right? Nagets nyo? I think magiging mautak din naman yung mga exporting countries na yon. Ang mangyayari is maglalagay sila ng hub dito sa Pilipinas, and then dun dadaan, then papunta dun sa I think it might work. Mas mura kasi kuryente nila sa nuclear power nila. Saan dadaan ng barko? Sa South China Sea. Eksena naman ng this kind of genius. This is kind of genius, yes? Kayo pinopose niya pero hindi niya ginawa sa admin niya. Tinigil niya lahat ng project ng previous admin. Ano yun? Ang layo na naman, Bidson. Ang layo na yan. Warehousing pwede. Ganun ang mangyayari. Basta meron silang presence sa Pilipinas that they can show na this is from the Philippines. Right? Ang layo mo na, Vidzone. Ang layo mo na. Kanina ka pa dyan sa content na yan.
Who do we do business with? ASEAN. Kung bagsak
alam ng US yan. Of course, malaman nila. Hindi naman maitatago. Kaya nga sinasabi niya rin publicly.
sila, who do we do business with? Kung bumibili sila ng 100 tons of, I don't know, coconut every year, every month, whatever the number is. Tapos, humina ang kanilang ekonomiya. They can only buy.
Yeah.
Kung bagsak sila,
I don't know, but I'm so skeptical. Maybe wala na akong tiwala sa mga pinagsasabi niya. Well, watch and learn. Well, kaya nga ka-unity ako, I can still trust. You can't. That's your problem. I can still trust. So, strategic location talaga ang Pinas, yes.
who do we do business with? Kung bumibili sila ng 100 tons, nila rito yung pabrika, whatever it is, and then dito so 17% lang ang tariff. Pero kung isipin mo, kung you keep thinking about this,
17%. Actually, kung 17% yon, kikita nga tayo doon kasi nasa 50 plus yung natin. Bawa Thailand is 32 per dollar. So tayo 50 plus per dollar. Kikita talaga tayo doon kung in dollar terms, actually.
who do we do business with? ASEAN. Kung bagsak sila, who do we do business with? Kung bumibili sila ng 100 tons of, I don't know, coconut every year, every month, whatever the number is. Tapos humina ang kanilang ekonomiya, they can only buy 20. What will we do with the remainder? Hahanap na naman tayo ng markets. But if everybody is down, then
So kayo, mukhang walay na po yata si Madam Claire. Iba na po kasi yung nasa... Hindi, nasa ano yata? Nasa Malaysia pa kasi. Malaysia ba? Tama, sa Malaysia kasi. Hindi matanggal yan. Alam mo, binabago nila yung meta no? Ang ginagawa nilang meta ngayon is yung mga katulad ni Attorney Claire. Okay? Yung mga tondo girl. Hindi siya naman nagsabi nun Kasi bakit daw siya ganyan pwede naman natin attribute sa lahat kung bakit siya ganun, tondo girl, di ba? I think ganun yung ginagawa nilang meta ngayon Which is, that's fine, I guess.
and everybody's markets will shrink. So it's a real problem. I also had actually good conversation with the premier of China, and I asked him, Premier, what do you think? He says, well, we do not want any of this. They don't want this war. And I said, we're very worried because China is the biggest economic driver in the region.
That is true. Pero biggest exporter din sila. Actually, kaso Mr. President, it would it would endanger our ties with the US Kasi pwede mo ngang dalhin yung produkto ng China sa atin, tapos tayo mag-export sa US Kasi ang pinakamataas na tariff na binigay ni Trump is yung sa China Siyempre, well, why would they do that kung pwede naman sila sa Singapore? Yeah, I think it's not gonna work. Kasi second to the lowest tayo, right? Lowest pa rin ang Singapore, right? Okay, pwede lang gamitin yung Singapore para pumunta doon sa US. So, why would they use us to export to the US? Right? I guess yun yung issue. Ano yung upper hand natin sa Singapore? I think wala. So, I don't know. Matik taas tariff niyan. Kaya nga it would actually
This war. And I said, we're very worried because China is the biggest economic driver in the region. And of course, we watch very closely what is happening to the economy in China because it affects all of us. Because once again, we
ginagawa na yun ng China with other Asian countries kayo. Pero sa lowest, syempre. Sa lowest pa rin.
trade with China. Happening to the economy in China because it affects all of us. Because once again, we trade with China.
Yun. We trade with China. But really, paano yung sa sa West Philippine Sea?
We have many investments in China and we have many Chinese investments in the Philippines. So, talagang kung makita mo, wala namang...
So again, nagpapalit na ba ng stance ang ating presidente na nagiging medyo, dahil magiging chair na rin siguro next year. So ang nangyari ba is nagsosoften na siya sa China muna sa ngayon, which is good. Let's just move away from that kind of na away na ibang countries, di ba? Seemingly anti-China stance.
walang
Meron din siguro sa Singapore, gateway din nila siguro doon.
kung matuloy itong regime na unilaterally imposed, talagang babagsak. It is a global effect and it is not going to be a good one. There will be, I believe, a shrinkage in economic activity. I hope not. I hope I'm wrong. But so ang aming laging pinag-usapan, what will happen after the 90 days pause is over? And that's what we will. And basically, we're just guessing. We don't know. We don't know what will happen between now and July.
Alam mo, at least si Presidente, alam niya yung what he knows and what he doesn't know. Di ba si Jose Claire Castro, she knows all of them. I heard na ginagawa ng China to other country, doon niya pinapadaan ng item niya. Well, which is rational naman. Well, I guess mas malaki maging benefits kaysa makipag-away sa, which is yun naman talaga yung point eh, di ba? So paano mo yan gagawin? How would Trump react? Kasi totoo naman may arbitrage yan eh.
When the 90 days runs out, we don't know how it will be different from each one country to the other. The reason I asked the premier of China is because sabi ko,
Mukhang di na nga need ni PBBM ng spokes eh. Hindi nga eh. He can speak for himself.
you're the center of attention, so I wanted to see what your insights were. But we are in agreement, and I in the side discussions, it was not in open session, but in the side discussions, I was telling the other leaders, I said, what we have to recognize is that kahit ano pang mangyari, kahit ibalik bura lahat, rewind lahat, back to what it was in January, tomorrow.
Interesting.
Nangyari tomorrow, we're back to square one. Tungkol sa tariff, meron ng permanent effect na hindi na mawawala. May effect nung pag-impose ng tariff schedule na hindi na mawawala. Nandyan na.
Correct.
Nandyan na. Just the risk assessment for any businesses and any investment,
Kumbaga may may sugat na.
it changed now.
Correct.
Because this can happen. Pwede palang mangyari ito. So yung risk assessment magbabago. So I was telling all the others, what we have to do is to identify what those changes are going to be. Is it damaging, or is it to our advantage, or is it something that we can maximize? And that's how we need to adjust. Because whatever else happens, this will change, this is changing, this will change, this has changed. First of all, the structure of world trade is completely different now from what it was before.
But there's a danger do sa gusto mong Mr. President, bigas. Sabi ko nga baka pagka piners mo yung limit ng 10% ng pero mukhang hindi naman eh. Mukhang kakayanin naman eh as long as hindi mo ma-pierce yung 10% eh.
The conclusion also that we arrived
This is
at
actually a good pivot. Yeah. Parang may may reality check na si PBBM.
is that we have to depend more on each other, on ASEAN. ASEAN, malakas naman ang loob namin sa ASEAN member countries. The economies are vibrant, masigla ang kanilang mga ekonomiya, masigla ang ating ekonomiya. Kaya kailan maaari naman natin gawin, sabihin natin kung nahihirapan yung iba, tayo na lang muna mag-usap-usap. If we cannot sell to these markets anymore, then let's sell to each other's markets. But it seems that the best, most
Okay, doon medyo magpo-push back ako. We cannot just sell to each other eh. Dahil, unang-una, the biggest market is still the US. 300 million people, consumer-based. Like, ang China is not, they're trying to transition from sa export to to consumer base, right? They're trying to transition there, but they cannot yet. So yeah, siguro maganda sa papel na we should sell with one another, but still won't work because the biggest market is the US pa rin. So okay ako dun sa rerouting yung pero yung idea na selling to each other, I don't think that would work. Teacher Mike, we are not that big as a consumer economy. We're not. Yeah, we're not.
solid way forward is to make to be
Even Germany is they need the US market. Even the European Union, they need the US market.
a reliable partner for each other in ASEAN. And it's impossible for anyone to disagree because that is the obvious answer. So that's more or less what we did on those two subjects. The other feature that we didn't have in previous ASEAN meetings was the GCC, which I think is a very, very good idea. Plus the GCC China trilateral meeting. If you put these groups together, just start with the GCC and ASEAN, you put that together, that is a very important economic bloc. And if we come to a good arrangement, then that will be a rival to any kind of economic bloc anywhere in the world.
I disagree, Mr. President. I disagree. Every like every analyst you can ask, every economist you can ask, even us combined cannot compete with US. Ah, tingnan nyo na lang ang history ng European Union. That's an attempt. BRICS is an attempt. European Union was an attempt. They joined together to compete with the US. Look what happened. UK got out. And the currency is going to shit. Bloated na yung mga utang nila. Kasi that's what US was trying to do. They're actually helping a competition. Bakit? Kasi ayaw nila maging reserve currency. Because they become the central bank of the world. They cannot actually fix yung local issues nila. They every time they do like policies, they have to think about international, not just local. Unlike us, we can do that. They cannot. That's why they don't want to be in the center of everything. Believe it or not, they don't want that anymore. So, kahit combined pa yan, just look at EU. They're combined. They have nothing against... hindi sila makapag-compete sa US. But that was the hope, to actually compete with the US. They cannot do that. That's EU, ha? Isipin mo, ilan yung mga yan? Ilan yung mga yan? Ilang economies yan na pinagsama-sama sa isa? They did not stand a chance. And you're telling us na we can? I don't think so. I'm sorry. Isang buong continent. Correct. That's the EU, dude. We're talking about the whole EU. Ilan yan? Dapat mag-focus muna si BBM locally. Itama niya yung mga mali na nagawa.
And that is well recognized. Of course, as they say, the devil's in the details, so that has to be worked out. Each country has a different approach. Each country has a different context, in different situations that they have to work within.
Kaso lahat tayo, majority of us are exporters. Who's gonna buy? Germany economy is the weakest economic state sa US. Yun ang nadinig ko. They are. Aging population like the Japan, right? Like Japan. Ang counterpart nila is Japan.
So that's something, but conceptually anyway, in terms of principle, we all agreed on that. And the same thing applies with the trilateral with GCC and China and ASEAN. Talagang pag pinagsama mo lahat yan, this is a very large part of the world population.
Exporters pa rin. Kahit magsama-samain mo nga mga yan, exporters pa rin. We need a big consumer-based country to sell our products to. And that's still the US. If we're going to be isolated from the world, or we can create our own faction, we need a strong consumer-based. Kung ang China is nag-transition na to consumerism, then we have a chance. But they cannot transition there. They are trying.
And certainly a very large part of the world's wealth and economic activity and growing economic activity, energetic economic activity. So that I think was a very good initiative by PM Anwar. And
Jay, ako yung nakasalubong mo kanina, boss kayo. Oo, nasa fiesta. Nakikipiesta ka pala.
I think I'm even if we do not, kahit na hindi tayo makabuo ng agreement, ASEAN GCC, this is a big opportunity for member countries of GCC, member countries of ASEAN to interact and to find ways to find some things to do. The same thing with China. So I think it is also in response again to the instabilities that we all are worried about on the global economy. You're trying to strengthen different.
Hatandaan nyo, yung BRICS, that is also an attempt. Kalaban ng IMF, right? Tama ba? IMF. Tama, IMF. Right? They're trying to build that kind of like a political system. Parang United Nations type of shit, right? They're trying to do that. They have these BRICS. What happened to it?
Different groups instead of talking
G7 niya.
only about the EU, only talking about the United States or North America. We now have to think about other places.
NATO nga nag-struggle nung umalma US, 'di ba? 'Di ba? Yung NATO walang magawa. Nung umalma yung US walang nagawa. We're talking about NATO.
That will develop their own markets that we can invest in, that can invest in us, that we can trade with, and that's pretty much that's pretty much a quick thumbnail sketch of all the
Gusto ko yung idea nun sa export. That's a genius one.
things that we spoke about. Of course, there were all the bilaterals, which, as you know, are usually very productive, and we had a few of them. I just came out of one with the Crown Prince of Kuwait. So again, those bilateral contacts are very, very important, and we of course
I
continue to encourage that. We spoke with both Thailand and Cambodia about opening up access to their markets for certain Philippine products, and we spoke now with Kuwait about the interaction between the Philippines and Kuwait and how they would like to, how grateful.
Actually, eto sa totoo lang I have an evil plan to conquer the world. Would you like to hear it, Mr. President? I have an evil genius plan to actually... It's like the Chinese strategy. Think about it this way. Don't stop the population here. Kasi may ganyang salita na wag magbuntis or yung RH bill, blah, blah, blah. Block that. This is how you do it. Pabayaan mo, dumami yung population. You arm them with qualifications of being an OFW, right? Then you actually train them by block kung which countries. Kasi we are good at it. We are good at exporting jobs, like exporting labor. Then what happens next? What happens? The product that we produce will be in demand. Why? Because there are a lot of Filipinos around the world that will demand that product. Then, after that, we conquer the world. Huwag lang harangan ulit si Serapi sa state-sponsored text stealing. No, we'll do it, we'll do it old school. No, pati mga ang president and export natin, di ba? We're really good at it. True, agree. Right? That's how you conquer the world. Kaya i-block mo lahat ng may mga RH bill, blah, blah, blah. I-block mong lahat yan. Genius ko, walang si Mother Earth cause of the carbon footprint. No, I disagree with that, Aya Heart. Everything that is produced inside, tamo ito, Aya Heart. Think about this way. Earth is a closed system, right? Everything is produced there, came from it, right? So what makes you think na kawawa si Mother Earth kung it's a closed system, it can actually like control or manage itself? That's not true. Ang kawawa si Mother Earth, that's not true. Remittance lang ang kita ng Pilipinas kaysa aside sa banana wala na. Well, remittance nga, we're good at that, right? In Adam Smith's equation, we should do that more. Di ba? We should do that more. We're good at it. We are good at exporting labors. We conquered them that way. Let's go.
They are for the contribution that our OFWs have done.
Spy, sleeper cell. Walang spy. Walang spy. Walang ganon. Kaya pala 2 mil ang mga Bangladesh dito sa Saudi, pati mga condiments nila at products. Exactly. That's how we do it. Sobrang mura kasi sa China, kayo. Matagal na pinag-aralan lahat yan.
To the development of their country. And they have been very kind to us. And so, although this is more or less what happened in the past couple of days.
Hi sir, good evening. Sir, kanina nabanggit po ni Minda Secretary Tereso yung about po sa 300 million from the ADB. 400 million sorry. Sir, gaano kalaking bagay po ito sa development po ng Mindanao?
If I'm not mistaken, it's MARCOS idea exporting labor force. It was the senior, right? The senior is MARCOS idea exporting labor force. So, nasa right track kami. Parehas kami nasa right track, right? Kasi that's what I mean.
Now?
Oh, malaki. At ang ADB, this was
Mass is constant pero yung input is different from byproducts. Saan yung input? Alam mo ba, ang sinasabi niyong meron sa Science Direct na isa sa mga nag-refute nung idea ng global warming is, sabi kasi nila, yung katulad na pagputol ng puno, blah blah blah, right? Actually, nasa bed mismo yung pinagkukuhanan mismo natin na pinakamalaki. Yung mga puno, wala lang yan. Na-discover nila yan. Punta kay Science Direct, makikita nyo yan. So ngayon, ano ba yung issue mo kung bakit sa population? Paano, for some reason, you think na ilang bilyon na tayo ngayon? Tingnan mo yung Earth. Hindi ko magets yung idea na, tamo closed system nga yung Earth, diba? Okay, ano yung input ba sinasabi mo? Saan galing input? Outer space ba? And not only that, ang sabi, isa pa sa mga discovery is ganito. Meron kasing may cyclical theory, di ba? May cyclical theory of ano eh. Ngayon, sabi, mas nakatulong pa yung pagputol ng puno because may parating na winter. Yung winter na yon will be like the dark age type of shit, right? And yan din yung mga arguments like 2015 pa lang alam ko na to eh. Like yung 2015, kaya kapag ka nagpuputukan yung mga bulkan, what happens next? What happens next kapag nagpuputukan yung mga bulkan worldwide? Ice Age, exactly. That's according to cyclical theory. Topic natin yung isang yan nung isang oynak, 'di ba? Parang sa halaman. Pag nag-pruning ka, lalong lumalago. Kidlat Ice Age. Let's assume there will be Ice Age. Okay? Ngayon ang question ko, are more humans on Earth makakatulong to counter that Ice Age or hindi? I think makakatulong, right? It depends on your assumption kasi, diba? So ngayon, hindi ko maintindihan sinasabing kawawa naman yung Mother Earth. What do you mean? I don't get it.
As part of the BIMP-YAGA discussion, at the ADB made commitments, as it has always done, because ADB is really our counselor when it comes to
Makakatulong, maiti. Exactly.
the BIMP-YAGA projects. $400 million, as if you put together with the downstream effects of that. And the reason that the ADB, because we can see that there will be very advantageous downstream effects to that, is a big
Kaya,
deal.
tama, dinibang ko na kayo sa Science Direct yung CO2 mo sinasabi. Yung alam mo nga sa tree, wala yan kumpara sa sa bed. Nandun lahat. Meron yan sa Science Direct. Meron ng journal dyan that actually debunks the global warming issue.
Deal that especially Mindanao actually is I think if we are going to shepherd it and to help it be as successful and do everything we can to make BARM successful, we always
Though I agree po na it's not just about the population size but how the masses consume resources. More people, more resources need to consume more waste. Yung assumption mo nga kasi, ang assumption mo kasi is linear yung linear yung theory mo ng ng universe, di ba? And I'm telling you, I agree with the cyclical one. What if, ito nga yung tanong ko sa iyo what if yung ng bulkan na yan, yung mga yan worldwide is, ang next yan is winter, right? Now, my question is, yung mga gusto mo bang tanggalin yung population, mag-green tayo, tapos kung ano-anong, huwag tayo gumamit ng aeroplano, siguro maglakad na lang tayo, mag-solar airplane, ganon. Yan ba makakatulong ba yan sa winter o hindi? Yun lang ang tanong ko sa'yo. Yun lang ang tanong ko sa'yo. Kasi you're assuming a linear I'm not. I guess, kasama sa theory mo na humihina na yung sa sunspots, right? Kasama yun sa theory mo, right? Kasi sa mundo ko, it's cyclical. Kaya nga pag pumutok yung mga bulkan sa ilalim ng dagat, may nabubuong bagong island. Tuloy natin to.
always talk about land of promise that we never were able to see the promise of. I think there's a chance now that we will, because there's no more fight. There's no more fighting. Well, there's some criminality, but it's not the full scale, large scale fighting like we had during the secessionist war. So, malaki ang ano ko sa malaki ang kumpiyansa ko sa pagbulusok ng Mindanao. And ADB has always been there, but also OIC, the Organization of Islamic Countries, Malaysia has always been very, very, Japan has always been very present. ADB has always been very present. So even the EU has been
Here it is.
always
Here we go with the EU.
present. So even the EU has been has always been part of the peace process, and now the investment into BARM. So I hold great hope for the future of BARM, for the future of Mindanao.
So one more lang po. So during your intervention sa plenary session po na
Sabi ni Don Judge Quick, no, first kalokohan niya naiisip nyo. Daming na nyo. Kasi ang alam mo lang naman kasi mga babae, proud ka ng cheater ka eh. O, yun lang naman kasi ang alam mo sa buhay. Wala ka naman pakialam sa kahit ano, di ba? Don Judge Quick, no, first. O, hindi doon. Huwag ka na manood dito. O, huwag ka na manood dito. Alam mo ang gawin mo? O, yan. Mambabae ka na lang. Yan naman trip mo sa buhay mo, di ba? Proud ka pa.
nabanggit niyo po yung pag-push na Code of Conduct sa South China Sea.
Push ng?
Ng Code of Conduct po sa South China
I always push the code of conduct. Always, always. It's critical to everything that's happening. You know, if you have a code of conduct, essentially, freeze frame muna. Oh, okay, hanggang dyan na lang tayo. Oh, wag na nating palalain. Oh, tapos yan, nung usap tayo will request, that will contain mechanisms also of adjudication or trying to de-escalation processes. Yeah, kasama lahat yan. So I think that I think it's well recognized. It's not just the Philippines who feels that way. Everyone in ASEAN feels that way. Everyone in Asia feels that way.
Sir, just want to ask
No, kaya naman sumagot ni PBBM eh. Di ba?
more details about your conversation with the Chinese premier. Did you talk
Mambabae na lang siya para dadayo population dagdag sa exportation. Di ba?
about the situation in the West Philippine Sea?
No. I only spoke to him. He was at
Amo ah. Ayaw niya rin pinag-uusapan namin. Kasi pambabae lang naman kasi trip mo sa buhay. Yun lang yung gusto mong pag-usapan. O doon ka sa mga usapang babaero, doon ka na lang. Oh.
in a meeting. He was sitting next to me at lunch. I was sitting next to the Chinese premier and the foreign minister of UAE.
Or at least did you get any commitment po from the Chinese side on your call to
Wala, tinanong ko lang sa kanya, sabi, I just want, what is the Chinese perspective of this new unilateral tariff schedule? And he says, well, Mr. Trump has his own, seems to have his own idea, but we certainly do not want this to continue. It's not good for everyone. We don't want this.
Totoo naman yung tariff kasi actually ang gusto lang naman kasi Trump talaga diyan ibaba rin yung tariff sa kanila eh. Parang free trade talaga eh. Kaso yeah.
And so that's we were just walking along. Hindi kami nakaupo na nag-usap ng ganun. But I was very, very curious to get a little bit beyond the party line because we've heard what China says on TV, dun sa mga nila. But to be able to get the chance to talk to the premier, I thought I was hoping to get in. Yun ganun din. I think, yes, you can see that it's sincere on their part that they do not want this. They do not want this to carry on. They want everything to be normalized.
DILG Secretary
Good. Then what should we do?
John Vigramulya yesterday said that nakapili na kayo ng bagong chief PNP. Is it true? Kung totoo, Mr. President, sino po siya?
Actually, it's oh God, it's the answer is more complicated than that, as ever. I would rather not use this forum to announce that. I think I should talk to them first, because the official decision has not been made. They should hear whoever it is should hear about it first from me, not through the news. But yes, we're very clear on what we're going to do next.
General Torre.
Clarify ko lang po, Mr. President. May napili na po kayo?
May
May napili na po kayo?
Meron na.
Meron na po.
Meron na.
Talking about peace and order, security,
Si Torre.
Mr. President, ano po yung magiging marching orders niyo doon sa bagong chief PNP? Especially na gusto niyo i-intensify yung police visibility sa mga kalye.
Well, what will I tell the new chief PNP?
I like his answers. There is more sense than music. I know, right? Tapos short and sweet. Parang that's it.
The new chief PNP is a very senior officer in the PNP. He knows the situation, and I will actually tell them, carry on what you are doing, because we have
Na-announce na ni Ian. Oh, alam ko na. Napanood ko kay Teacher Mark.
we have very good statistics concerning crime. And for example, there's a report here: Metro Manila crime rate is down by 23% in 6 months. If we are going to look here at the crime result at the national level, where are the index crimes? Eto. From the period of last year, same period last year, ito na lang, focus ka kasi ayokong basahin lahat. So, 15,156 last year in the period of January 1 to May 16. And the period from January 1 to May 16 of 2025, it went down from 15,156 to 11,493. That
And hindi kinonek. Hindi, wala nga. Oh.
minus lahat. When you make that comparison of January 1st to May 16 of last year to this year, everything, murder, homicide, physical injury, robbery, theft, rape, carnapping, all went down. So they must be doing something right. Now, what we have been talking about is making policemen more visible. This is to make people feel safer. I perfectly understand that. I perfectly understand that. That basta, kahit papaano, may pulis dyan. May umiikot dito na pulis. Konting sigaw lang, tatakbo na yan.
Pero katulad nga sinabi ko, hindi lang naman sa presence ng police eh. Hindi lang naman sa presence ng police kung bakit na-feel ng mga tao na safe sila. Like for example, the Nazi. Don't tell me na yung mga tao is dahil present sila. Is they feel safe. They don't. They don't. So yung pagiging safe is nakadepende. Unang-una, of course, necessary yung police presence. Pangalawa, who's the head? Third, who's the admin? Nandun yan, simula sa taas hanggang pababa. Pag nakakita namin si Torre, feeling namin hindi kami safe. Issue yung trust sa police. Issue yung trust. Kasi yung perception mo sa mga police, yun yung nagano sa'yo kung safe ka o hindi. Kasi ako nung bata ako, Ramos. I admire the police. Kapag kasama ko yung police or sundalo, kapag naglalakad kami, di ba nasa kami, tapos katabi ko, nakakatigan niyan ako. I feel safe. I feel safe talaga. That's different. That is different on the noy-noy. Noy-noy na kasi doon lang din naman ako nagkaroon ng pakialam sa buhay nung kay noy-noy na eh. Diba? Nung kay noy-noy na. Tsaka kay diyan lang ako nagpakialam eh. Doon nagbago yung tingin ko sa mga pulis. Pero sa sundalo, hindi pa rin nagbago yung tingin ko sa mga sundalo nun. Sa pulis lang. Pero sa sundalo, hindi pa rin nagbago yung tingin ko sa sundalo. Sa pulis lang. Last man ng PMA na sana ang next in line. Naputol ng first PNPA to become CPNP. Oo nga, no? Last man ng PMA na sana, no?
That's important. It's important to people.
I feel safe with the AFP and police compare. PC police goons. True. Coming from a police family, I'm proud sa brother and father ko. Yeah, right? Right? Nung talagang you feel safe.
So despite the fact that maraming maganda namang result na statistic na maganda naman ang nagiging trabaho ng kapulisan natin in terms of law enforcement.
Sorry, President, di ko kaya na. Inom muna ako kape. Okay, tuloy.
Kailangan din hindi sapat na marami tayong nababawasan natin yung krimen. Kailangan nakikita yung pulis para feeling safe naman yung mga tao. That's why this new program of cops on the beat has been initiated.
Mr. President, one last thing na lang on my part. Doon sa podcast ninyo, narinig ko doon sa...
Podcast. Ito na, reconciliation na to.
Kasabi nyo, yung
Naalala ko time ni Makoy, takot kami sa PC at police. Ayun lang.
5-minute immediate police response. Will you please expound on that, Mr. President?
Well, first of all, we have been working on we've been working since last year on this. It's not so easy, but it's good to centralize the emergency calling. And right now, actually, the response time, meron ba tayong response time dito? Yung response time natin bumaba na rin, especially in the urban areas. Siguro, of course, wala, there's no, but there are no statistics here. No. So we're trying to centralize the emergency calls. So pag tatawag ka ng emergency, whatever, isa lang yung number kasi bawat bayan halos, bawat probinsya may sarili. So we'll centralize it para maging mas mabilis at diretso ka agad makadispatch ng police pagka may problema, kapag may gulo. So we're hoping that at least in the urban areas, that we're hoping 5 minutes. That's the aspiration once again. I hope. I think naman if we have the cops on the beat and they're in good direct communication with their dispatchador, then that will be the system that will be a good quick response. Pero
Siguro lagyan natin ng nuances. I guess, sa mga normal na tao, no? Para sa mga normal na tao, like, hindi like vloggers, o hindi public figure, meron din naman point na may, ng security. Kasi, for example, kung ako paano ako, di ba? Baka idiin pa ako lalo, right? Kasi bakit? Vlogger yan. Nakita namin yung mga content niyan. Oh, tinitira niyan si General Torre. Yun. Okay, that's an exception. Kung pwedeng mangyari yun, right? Pero siguro sa mga normal na tao, yung wala namang issue, siguro, masasolusyonan din naman. Like, for example, may nagwawala siya sa kanto. Oh, sir, may nagwawala doon sa kanto. Pinatawag, blah, blah, blah. May away, blah, blah, blah. Ganun. Mga ganun siguro. Siguro, bigyan din natin ng nuances naman. Okay?
kailangan mabuong system. One of the problems with the emergency call system is the statistic that about 70% are prank calls. So that's why we have to see how we can minimize that.
Good evening, sir.
Last Friday, Executive Secretary Bersamin announced that he did not accept his resignation and that the economic managers were retained, and there were other movements that were announced. The Executive Secretary also said that there would be new announcements on movements by tomorrow. Would you like to share with us?
Nope, not yet. I'll share with you one thing. That as we were doing the performance review, and when we see shortfalls in
Dito po sa Dubai, isang polis lang makita sa kalsada, 100 tao halos nagkatabihan na. O kasi there must be something wrong. Bakit may police, right?
performance, I don't leave it at that. I look and ask, why is that the case? And that is why we asked all the heads of agencies to also submit their courtesy resignations, because we have to look at deeper, not just look at the secretary. The secretaries, I think, all of them. Some have to be moved around. Some have chosen to leave, or no longer think they can contribute. But in any case, we are looking at the problem deeply. Siguro by now, I don't do things pang optics. If there is a problem, I like.
Gagi. Presidente, kung hindi mo ginagawa yung mga bagay-bagay pang optics, ang unang-unang dapat nasa pila dyan si Yusek. Dahil lahat ng good news tungkol sa'yo, laging lang kinakargahan ng propaganda for optics. Kung may number 1 na kapila dyan, si Yusek yon. Kasi lahat ng good news about sa'yo, like for example, yung tinulungan mo yun sa Qatar, nakakargahan niya ng propaganda yon, and then for optics. That's how she rolls. Technically, totoo kasi si Yusek yung gumagawa nun. Ay, optics, Yusek, oh.
To fix. Siguro by now, I don't do things pang optics. If there is a problem, I like to fix it. So that's what we are doing. So expect us to be doing a rigorous performance review, not only at the cabinet level, but even deeper.
Related lang po dun sa sagot ni sir kung pwede lang po.
Okay, sige. Alright.
Sir, you already mentioned that you don't do things
Di ba ganito pagkasabi ni Auntie Claire about sa tariff or mali ako na pagkakaintindi?
for optics. That was
Sabi ni Presidente, bad news yung tariff sa lahat, right? Sabi ni Yusek, it's good news. Dahil, bakit mo babay sa atin?
criticism of some of your detractors who are allied with the former President Duterte. And they also said that the quit resignations are not necessary and that they want you instead to resign. How do you want to respond to that? Or if you
Nakakainis naman yung ganun. Ako parang tanga lang yung question na ganun. Na parang ikaw na lang mag-resign, wag na yung mga cabinet mo. Well, siya ngayon namimili, di ba?
they want you instead to resign. How do you want to respond to that? Or if you
resign?
Yeah, that's what they want.
Ba't ko gagawin yun?
O nga naman, di ba? Siya ngayon namimili ng cabinet niya tapos ba't naman siya mag-resign? Andun nainis ako, napaka-productive ng mga ganong klaseng eksena, yung questions na ganon.
At wala sa ugali ko yung tinatakbuhan ng problema.
Magandang gabi po, Mr. President. Sir, you mentioned during your podcast
Parang good news, sinapak lang tayo. Yung iba sinaksak eh. Ganon.
na sawa na yung mga tao sa politika, and yet next week magsisimula na po yung impeachment trial against Vice President Sara Duterte.
I'm
How
not sure I see the train of thought there. Sawa ang tao ng politika pero may impeachment.
Yes, sir, because it's a political proceeding. So do you see
No, mali ka. Tama si Presidente doon. O nga, tama siyang sitahin yun.
trial against Vice President Sara Duterte?
I'm
How
not sure I see
Wala.
ng problema.
Magandang gabi po, Mr. President. Sir, you
Sharp si Presidente ah.
mentioned
In
during
fairness.
your podcast na sawa na yung mga tao sa politika, and yet next week magsisimula na po yung impeachment trial against Vice President Sara Duterte.
I'm
How
not sure I see the train of thought there.
Tama, he is right. Bakit? This is called use mention fallacy. The only reason na may connection sa'yo yung political is because political in nature yung impeachment. Therefore, it's politika. No. He's using, you are using it in different sense. This is called use mention. Dahil may political, it means politika. Hindi. Okay, tama siya. Tama si Presidente dito. He's sharp. No, I don't see the train of thought there. Parang, tama, ito mo yung sabi niya.
against Vice President Sara Duterte?
I'm
How
not sure I see the train of thought
Oh,
there.
I'm not sure I see the train of thought there.
Sawa ang tao ng politika pero may impeachment.
Yes,
Yeah, exactly. Hindi connected yon. Kapag sabi natin politika is ito, ginagawa to, pinupolitika to. Pwede mo sabihin na nung una, pinulitika yon. Pwede yon. Pero itong impeachment trial, hindi pinulitika to. Ang layo na nun. Nagigets nyo, use mention fallacy ito eh. Dahil ba may salitang politika, therefore it's politika? Hindi yung ganun. Ang tinitingnan natin ito is yung usage ng politika. Sawa na sa politika. Right? Yung mga sinasabing mga pangako, seriously kayo? Oo, it's not connected. Tama siya dito.
Sure I see the train of thought there. Sawa ang tao ng politika pero may impeachment.
yes, sir.
Yeah. Paano hindi nyo makita to? This is disconnected. Hindi porket minention mo yung politika and then political exercise yung impeachment. Therefore pinopolitika or politika. Magkaibang meaning 'yon, magkaibang usage 'yon. There's something about the president now. I saw some changes the way he speaks in response to the tama siya nung na-pick up niya tong disconnect na to, na parang sawa na ang tao sa politika, therefore may impeachment now. Parang how is that connected? magkaiba naman ng thoughts ng politika sa political process or exercise. Exactly. So tama siyang i-call out to. It's so sharp of him to actually see it na parang I don't think I see the train of thought there. I agree with Kayo. Surprised din ako na-catch ni PBBM. Na-catch niya actually. It's not the same context. I think common niyang political word na ginagamit in a fallacious way. Pero hindi ko naman namamalayan may use mention fallacy na pala na nakomit. Ito, he actually caught it. Parang ganito, sawa na tao sa politika pero may eleksyon. Correct, ganun. Thank you, no nonsense. Yun. Parang sawa na ang tao sa politika pero may eleksyon. Bakit? Well, election na sa political exercise. Political right of the people, right? Okay, yun yung nangyari. Thank you, no nonsense. Perfect example. Sawa na ang tao sa politika pero may eleksyon. Yun yung pagkakasabi, yun yung equivalent. Which is absurd, right? Yun. It's the usage of it, not the mention of it. Tama siya ditong nakatch niya to.
Right.
Sisimula na po yung impeachment trial against Vice President Sara Duterte.
I'm
How could-
sure I see the train of thought there. Sawa ang tao ng politika pero may impeachment.
Yes, sir, because it's a political proceeding. So do you see this?
Siguro kung nadagdagan niya nga nakatulad siya ng nonsense na sawa ng tao sa politika pero may impeachment. It's like saying sawa ng tao sa politika pero may eleksyon. Pucha, parang, right? Tamang term siguro is pamumulitika. Politics is also a distribution of wealth. You can escape it. Yung sinasabing politika dyan ay personalan nila. Correct. Magkaiba na. Kaya sinasabi ko sa ibang sense mo na ginagamit yung politika sa politika dito. Magkaiba yun. Ibang senses na yun. Ang tawag nyo doon is nag-equivocate ka na. Kasi ang use mention fallacy is family ng equivocation. Nagigets nyo? Kapag nag-use and mention fallacy ka, that's an equivocation. You are confusing the mention of it and the usage of it. So when you say namumuliti ka in one sense like personalan, and namumuliti ka as a political process, two different senses. That's use mention fallacy, which is an equivocation. Tama si Presidente dito. Fight me. The one who asked it is trying to stir up drama. Correct.
Sawa ang tao ng politika pero may
Pero napaka-graceful niyang mag-respond, no? Like,
impeachment.
very
Yes,
nice.
sir, because it's a political proceeding. So do you see this as the start of another political chaos?
The legislators, the senators, and the House are going to decide on how to handle it. I don't think that they've made any
Ginawa kasing negative lang ang politics. Okay, kaya pala parang similar ng concept na equivocation at use mention fallacy. It is use mention fallacy is an equivocation kasi. Ano yan, nasa family yan ng nasa babayan ng equivocation. Kind siya ng equivocation.
decisions yet in that regard. So let's let it's in there. It's there. Nasa kanila yan eh. Mostly for sa Senado, pero siyempre nandiyan pa rin ang House dahil sila mag-prosecute. So they will have to decide between the two houses how they were going to conduct
Use mention is under equivocation, yes.
this. You remind, I was part of the Corona impeachment. We were making rules as we went along, and I think that's what will happen here too. So we'll see what happens.
Very good na. Kabili ba? Ang sharp ni Presidente doon na pick up na. I don't think I see the natanggal na talaga yung course ni.
Sir, I understand malinaw naman po yung pahayag nyo that you have nothing to do with the impeachment trial. But do you wish na sana hindi na lang ito mangyari so as hindi na lang...
How many times do we have to say that?
Exactly.
I didn't want impeachment. Lahat ng kakampi ko sa Kongreso hindi nag-file ng impeachment complaint.
Hindi nag-file or hindi nagpirma? I think pumirma pa rin naman. Okay yung nag-file. Magatampo ang DDS. Kaya nga, fight me. He's right on calling that out. Fight me.
Yung mga hindi nag-file ng impeachment complaint. Yung mga nag-file ng impeachment complaint, hindi mo masasabing kaya kong utusan o pagsabihan na ito yung gagawin mo. So, why do I have to keep explaining that I did not want impeachment? Mr.
Good. Malaman yun na. Malaman yun na. Tama. Tama. Tama na nonsense. Malaman yun. Where does that leave Romualdez? Hindi nga naman nag-file, pumirma nga lang. Oo, pumirma.
Mr. President, again, why do I have to keep explaining that I did not want impeachment? Mr.
Nice analysis nito. Salamat, Edward Snowden. That's a very good... Yeah, tama nga naman. He keeps saying that. Hindi nga siya humingi na special session eh. What else do you want?
Mr. President, again, this is in reference to your interview in the podcast where you said that you're open to reconciling with the Dutertes. And after you said that, certain conditions were floated. For example, Bongo said...
No. That's not how reconciliation works. You don't put conditions to reconcile.
Explain.
If you're sincere, you want to reconcile, let's sit in front of you. Ano ba talaga problema? Ano ba, paano
Okay, maagal na naman sa akin DDS nito, pero I agree with the President here. You reconcile kasi shit happened. Nagets nyo? Shit happened around you. Shit happened because of your, kung ano man yung galing nyo sa isa't isa. You reconcile that because you want to reverse that shit. You want to reconcile to stop that shit. It's right again. O, di ba? Magatampo talaga ni DS ngayon. Totoo naman yun eh. Totoo naman yun. If you want reconciliation, wala, hindi to transaction. Well, not that shit. No, not that shit, Teacher Mark. Totoo naman yun eh. Kumbaga sa law, clean hands doctrine. Yeah. Mukhang maganda ang gising niya dyan. DDS needs a good deal kasi dapat di condition. That's the point. Na parang no conditions. Yes, no conditions. Alam mo kung bakit? The reason they want reconciliation because there's already shit. What's done is done. Right? That's why you need reconciliation to stop it. Para hindi lumala. That's why you want reconciliation too. Kapag ba ikaw na, ipag-reconcile ka sa asawa mo, teka, bilhin mo muna to. Bilhin mo muna ako nitong ganito. And then, I will reconcile with you. What? So, what is this? A transaction? He's right again. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry the DDS. This time he's right. Reconciliation kasi offer niya, hindi surrender. Correct. Gusto niya reconciliation. Hindi niya sinabing, I can be your bitch. Alam mo yun? Yes, totoo yun. At ang sinabi naman ng conditions are not the Duterte's family. Totoo din naman yun. Oo. Reconciliation para after tabula rasa. Just agree to disagree para mag-move forward. Yeah, yun. That's it. I did shit to you. You did shit to me. Okay, fine. What happened really already happened. Let's reconcile. Kaya nga reconciliation is actually hard. It's difficult to do. Because you have to forgive everything that he's done. That's why reconciliation is really difficult. It's so rare that you actually achieve that. But both of them can actually talk about it. Pero it's not a necessary condition. Hindi necessary condition yung condition. Pero you can talk about it if you want. It's different kayo. It's a different kayo, but malalaman din natin yan in the end. Ang galing na naman ba, Jennifer? Argue with me. How is he wrong? So, should you have, like, ito, let's not talk about PBBM and the Dutertes. Talk to me. In a reconciliation, do you need your demands na magawa before you actually reconcile? Is that necessary? Di ba naman siguro ang peace offering sa reconciliation? Forget them. Tell me, why you think that idea is wrong? Kasi ang problema is, nagiging bias kayo kasi it's the president talking. Tanggalin natin, ihiwalay natin yung salita niya ngayon sa sarili niya. Let's talk about this. Ang reconciliation ba ay may condition? Bati na tayo pero sa akin na lang firstborn son mo. Yep, I agree kay PBBM dito pero may pampadulas dapat. Di ba yan nag-away kayo ng misis mo dahil may kabit ka. Gusto mo mag-reconcile, is it okay na hindi mo hiwalayan kabit mo, mag-reconcile sa kanya? No, that's given. Parang ka naman tanga nun. Yung asawa mo sabi sa'yo, o sige, reconcile tayo pero hiwalayan mo siya. You don't have to demand that. That's a given. Parang ganito yan. Ngayon pag-reconcile si PBBM kay Duterte, it's a given na you shouldn't attack me na. Stop it. Don't do that anymore. Don't do that anymore. That's why you want to reconcile. You want to stop the shit. So ngayon, bakit mo ngayon ipapasok ngayon yung kabit? Yun nga yung problema, di ba? Then you should stop that shit. To actually reconcile. There should be no strings attached. Yun nga yung problema eh. Kaya nga sila mag-reconcile para hindi na mag-continue yung shit, di ba? O ngayon, sinasabi mo, pwede ko may pag-reconcile na may kabit ka, tapos sabihin mo, hindi pwede hiwalayan. Yun nga yung problema, yun nga yung kailangan mag-stop. Kaya nga sila nagre-reconcile. Paano yung kung ganito? Bakit sabi ni ChatGPT, kailangan daw ng condition sa reconciliation? Ano tinanong mo? Baka naman nilid mo si ChatGPT. This is great discussion about reconciliation. Iba kasi opinion ng bawat isa sa atin within our community. So, press 1 yung mga agree na as a reconciliation, kailangan ng condition or demands. Press 2 kung hindi. Necessary ang tanong ko is it necessary for a reconciliation na magkaroon ng demands or condition? Press 1. Press 2 kung hindi necessary. Okay, sino sa inyo? So necessary, 1, 2. Ang pinaka make sense na tanongin dito sa 1 is si Bro Russell's dad. Bro Russell's dad, explain yourself. Explain yourself. Bro Russell's dad. Why? Why is it necessary? When we're talking about condition, yung past, what happened in the past. Not future na, wag mo tong gagawin next time, wag mo tong gagawin next time. Hindi ganun Hindi ganun. Past. Past yung pinag-uusapan natin yung condition eh. Okay. It has to be necessary. You have to prove, you have to justify why it is necessary. Hagdan kuya, ba't may hagdan? Mag-explain lang naman siya. To ensure na hindi na mauulit or may iwasan ng away ulit. Yeah, pero that condition is moving forward, right? That's an imagination pa, right? Nag-reconcile muna kayo, then you actually talk about what's gonna happen in the future. That's not a necessary ingredient for reconciliation. Sabi ko sa iyo, yung past. Kasi kung sasabihin mong hindi na mangyari yun in the past, well, you're just granted the past. You did not demand it. Right? Ay, sorry. Yun lang reason ko in hindsight. Well, that doesn't, hindi ka masushoot sa number 2 nun. Nasa number 1 ka pa rin. What you guys are describing is reparation. Reparation yung sinasabi mo. Reparation yan. Mang times also have opposite opinion sa'yo, Kayo. To my understanding sa LS kanina. Negotiations na yon after the reconciliation. Exactly. Reconcile muna, then talk on how to make the relationship better. Exactly. Exactly. So, it is not necessary for you to have condition or demands for reconciliation. Right? Nakipag-reconcile ang Japan sa buong mundo noong World War II. Move on na lang. Exactly, Marites. Exactly, Marites. Nakipag-reconcile. Even Germany, right? And then after that, natanggalan sila ng arms to actually maintain that. They can actually do that, magkaroon ng arms hanggang ngayon. Pwede sila magkaroon ng yan. Ang Japan is defensive lang, right? And then they're asking na maibalik yung may offensive na sila, right? Mas naliliwanagan ako ngayon. Even sa black sa US, ngayon na lang naman yung left nang hihingi na reparations. Correct. O hindi siya, gawin mo muna ito bago tayo mag-reconcile. Hindi siya ganon, right? That's not necessary. Reconciliation is you want to stop whatever it is that is happening, which is usually bad, not good, because why would you need to So reconciliation is agree to disagree lang naman. Reconciliation always involve forgiveness. If it involves forgiveness, why do you have feeling ko alam ko na kung saan nanggagaling yung idea nyo na it has to come with conditions. Kasi marami sa inyong Kristiyano na nagsasabi na bago kita patawarin, kailangan mo muna manghingi ng sorry. I think doon galing yung idea nyo yun. Kayo, what if may trust issues na kasi? It doesn't matter kung may trust issues ka na. May trust issues sa akin yung asawa ko, pero we reconciled. She forgave me. I think kung saan galing yung idea nyo na kailangan may condition is on the forgiveness. Because you think, in order for you to forgive someone, they have to ask you for forgiveness. Sasabihin niya, mga ganito yung mga linyahan yan. Paano mo papatawarin kung hindi nang hingi ng sorry? Ay ko, you can actually do that. Kung alam mong mali siya, you can forgive him without him asking for forgiveness. Oh, may ting moments ako dyan. Okay, how about acknowledgement of the wrong done? Done kayo. They can do that. Pero, naiintindihan yung point, right? Naiintindihan nyo kung saan galing yung idea nyo na a reconciliation has to have like conditions. Kasi sa tingin nyo, a person has to ask you for forgiveness before you can forgive them. That is wrong. Because you can forgive without the person asking you for forgiveness. So kung ang idea nyo sa araw-araw ng buhay nyo is hindi ako magpapatawad kasi wala namang humingi sa akin ng tawad, so paano ko siya papatawarin? So that anger remains, right? Kasi for some reason, ang tingin mo tama ka, ang tingin mo tama siya. Pero if you are right na mali siya, why do you have to like wait for him to ask you for forgiveness if you can actually forgive him without asking for forgiveness? Reconciliation muna before negotiations, lalo na since technically, tsaka marami tayong example like sa world wars, right? Nung dumating si Christ to save us from our sins, is that your action or God's action? Correct. Before you ask for forgiveness from God, ano yung nauna? Yung act of forgiveness niya? O ikaw nag-ask for forgiveness? He already forgave you before you ask Him for forgiveness. That's nasa parable yan. Guess ko na, I reconcile with my ex for my peace of mind even though he did not ask for forgiveness. Exactly. That kind of reconciliation. Meron bang condition? Simply lalani? Before you actually do that? No. So the president is right here. And I'm not only, kumbaga, hindi ko to pinaglalaban, sinabi niya, because naka-unity ako. Pinaglalaban ko to kasi I'm a Christian. And he is right, even in that standard. So fight me. Kasi pag sinabi kong tama siya, hindi tama sila, dapat may condition. Pag sinabi kong ganon, it means I have to apply that in my base foundation na kailangan ko munang mag-sorry kay Christ bago niya ako patawarin. Which is wrong theologically. He already forgave me before I even ask Him for forgiveness. I'm being consistent with what I believe. It's not because I'm ka-unity or shit. Kung ka-unity ako at mali si PBBM, lalagpasan ko lang yung issue. Nagets nyo? Hindi ko pagtatanggol yung mali. But this time, he is right. Reconciliation doesn't work that way. You don't need conditions. You just do it to stop the mess, or because you want to forgive. The fact that you recognize your sins is already grace. Tama. So, yung nagsasabi na this is a different kayo, I'm not. Again. My basis, sabi ko nga, I'm a Christian first, vlogger second. I always derive what I know and what I tell you on my analysis based on my foundation as a Christian. So, I am sticking with PBBM's argument here. Not because I'm a ka-unit team. It's because I'm a Christian. God bless inyo lahat. Bye-bye.
Dumating ang